Welcome to the show about all things making music, from the creative process and workflow to gear and recording techniques. I'm your host, Brian Funk, musician, producer, Ableton certified trainer, and author of the 5-Minute Music Producer. Let's learn to become better music makers. Welcome to the Music Production Podcast. My guests today are Carpool, an alternative hip-hop band that combines hip-hop beats with electric guitar and bass. They've just released some new music, Creature Mode Vicious and Creature Mode Velocity. I spoke with Danger, Renzo Starr, and Villian about their new releases and recent touring. We had a great discussion about writing music as a group and performing live. Please welcome Carpool to the Music Production Podcast. This episode of the Music Production Podcast is sponsored by Baby Audio's Transit 2 plugin. Transit 2 is the all-new update to the best-selling transition and motion effects tool created in partnership with producer Andrew Huang, who was on episode 351 of this podcast. Version 2 of Transit brings 4 new motion modes, 10 new effect modules, and workflow improvements based on Andrew's creative process. I'm going to experiment with Transit 2 over a song that has a few different sections, but no real way to connect them yet. So right now I've got this little part going here, and I'm going to start bringing in the Transit macro control. And we're slowly bringing this in. And maybe at this point I'll cut out the drums. And right as we come back to the beat, we're going to cut this effect out. Now we're in our new section. So I'll grab a different preset. I'll do the same thing again. Let's try hype. Cutting the drums. New part. So you can see how you can really quickly and easy create these multi-effects that help you glue parts of your song together. But Transit has more than just a macro now. There's a few different ways you can have the effects come in. There's an LFO, which is a very rhythmic version, which we're hearing right now. We've got the follower. I'll change a preset. This is just listening to our music and bringing the effect in time with the song. There's sidechain, which is really cool. So this is going to listen to another track in our session. Right now, Transit is sidechained to my snare drum. So every time the drum hits, we get a little burst of the effect. That's pretty fun. My favorite new update is this gate control. So I've got a button mapped on my controller to the 1-bar loop. So as I hold this button down, we're going to get a transition until I let go of the button. Now I'm into my new section. So check out Transit 2 at babyAud.io and use the code MPP15 to save 15%. All right, I am here with Carpool, the 3 guys from Carpool. What's up? How are you?
Going on, man? Thanks for having us.
Good, man.
Yeah, it's good to have you. Maybe I can get you guys to introduce yourselves so people can associate your names with your voices.
Yeah.
And tell us like the role in the group.
Hey, what's up? I'm Renzo Starr. I'm on bass and vocals.
Going on? Ken Danger. I'm on guitar and vocals.
I'm Michael the Villian, and I'm a vocalist.
Nice. So cool. We got to talking because you guys are coming through New York, and right now you're kind of stationed in LA, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So you guys been on the road a bit, doing some touring?
Yeah, we did a little move to New York early in the summer. I think it was like June. And then we came back and we got invited back and we liked it so much. We figured let's go in early October too. So yeah, both of them were a fun time.
Yeah, we've really been trying to make it a goal this year of traveling across the country and just getting as many show opportunities spaced out as possible. So we've been doing some in LA, some in New York, and then we even have one in Raleigh, North Carolina for later this year in December.
Yeah.
Nice. And that's a little bit of a homecoming then, I guess, right? North Carolina.
So.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that one.
Cool. I think something that's like cool about the sound you guys have, it's like a kind of mixture, I would say, of like a little bit of like alternative rock with hip hop, It's very melodic. There's a lot of musical elements, a lot of cool guitar playing, cool bass lines, and then on top of it, like a rap hip hop style with some singing too. I think it's a cool blend of genres. Curious, like how you guys wound up there.
It's a good question. I think it's like always been ever evolving, just because I feel like the three of us really love music. We're always trying to explore and like add new things to like what we describe our taste as. And I think at the beginning, like we can all say definitely that we love hip hop, and that's kind of like vocally where a lot of the ideas come from. But I think all three of us could speak to different artists and different genres that really influence us outside of that as well, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and as far as how that kind of combination of flavors or of influences came to be, I feel like it was just a natural conclusion of what we were trying to create. We really were looking at like our contemporaries and music that influenced us, but we didn't really see ourselves reflected in the artists we were like looking up to. And I think that's what gave us that passion and drive to try and combine a lot of different tastes into a holistic package, or like this meal that we serve to people with each track.
Mm.
Yeah, it honestly just happens.
Yeah. I feel like we could name artists, but that's like ever changing.
Yeah. Any one in particular, any style you're like that's kind of current for you guys right now?
All right. I mean, I guess I'm speaking a little bit for Renzo, but he loves JPEG Mafia. And I do feel like kind of the energy of his music has definitely given a bit of influence into like the fact that he's so particular and very like in the details about his work. And I feel like that's kind of also like influenced us to sort of take that same approach. But again, I mean, I feel like, or sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, even in that same vein of JPEG Mafia, like Childish Gambino, I know is somebody that all three of us love a lot. And I think that's because they're unapologetically eclectic with the work they do. They never try and like cater to their audience. It's more like the audience always has to come to them and just accept them where they're at with the decision-making choices they make with the production. But I think that's why we love them too, is because they just kind of scratch that itch in your brain of giving you something that's a bit off kilter than what you were expecting.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
can also say Wu-Tang too.
Yeah, some Wu.
Definitely woo.
Yeah, like someone like Childish Gambino, where they're doing like lots of different things in their music, lots of different styles. Like so often you're kind of encouraged, like as an artist, like you have to pick something and like go down that lane only because your audience needs to expect the same thing. They want to hear that when they hear you. And, all this trying to fit in with like algorithms so that they know where to send you guys. But I don't think like most people are that way. Where it's just one dimensional like that.
Yeah.
Nobody is. People try to pretend like they are though, but I feel like everybody has a little side to them where they, everybody got some music that they don't want to play in the car with everybody or something like that. Everybody has that, but some people like to pretend and stuff. So I feel like everybody should be more open with their choices. You for a reason.
Right. You have anyone in mind? I'm gonna ask you to like, out yourself on some. Any like music like that. For you?
Not really. I'm generally open about everything I listen to. I listen to. I mean, I can't lie. Like people look at me and they won't see me as a dude listening to like singers and stuff like that. But I listen to a lot of singing music, a lot of jazz, a lot of different types of jazz. But lately, I can't lie. I've been listening to a lot of SZA. So SZA is like my thing. But I feel like that's normal for me. But to somebody else, they'll probably be like, "Oh, you got a beard, all this. You ain't supposed to be listening to SZA." But it's music, you know what I mean? That's why I said I feel like everybody has their little thing. People will call it a guilty pleasure, but I don't feel like it's guilty at all.
That's refreshing to hear, because like sometimes people have that where like, oh, like, no, it's not really my thing.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, it's good music. Good music is good music, no matter where it comes from.
And it all seeps into like what you create, and it makes it a more interesting type of thing.
You can't listen to
I can hear the jazz in what you guys are doing. I can hear that, especially like a lot of the guitar chords, and It's got some like some cool extended chords and interesting voicings on there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
like
Nice.
I guess.
on those songs.
I guess, yeah, it's just kind of like when we get together, we just have different things that we might go after. So it might be like we're feeling jazz today. Okay, cool. Or we're feeling R&B or like rock and roll, and then we sort of layer again that hip hop element around whatever the genre we're feeling.
Right. Yeah, a lot of times I'll hear a song and it might just be like a small part of it even I'm taking, you know? And it could be anything. It doesn't like that's the fun thing about when you get into like writing music, producing music. It's like now it doesn't matter what you listen to because there's something to grab, you know,
Yeah,
from like
definitely.
any genre. Might even just be the production style or just the attitude of the vocalist. It's all be
mood
part of
now.
what you put in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I always tell them like a big part of music is delivery, how you deliver it. Like a lot of people have no like. I mean, I'm not going to say it doesn't have a lot of lyrical. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of lyrical content, but the way that they say it and the way they do things, like I mean, James Brown, you know, it's like the
Yeah.
stuff like that. You just
Hey.
have to. Yeah, that's what I'm
Just
saying.
saying
Like
hey.
he didn't really say too much, but the way he said it
Yeah.
and the way he did it, it was like, okay, that's why we get it. You know.
Yeah. Right. You can take a word like hey.
Exactly, and just stretch it out so many
It's
ways.
a,
You know, he'll probably make a
he
whole song
speaks
out
a
of
whole
just hey.
language.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he has.
he probably has. Yeah, he probably has. That's what I'm saying.
It's just a whole language comes out of that one word and all the ways you express it.
Those are the parts you remember the most, though. Even like for the least astute listener, like Michael Jackson, you ask them what they know, they're gonna go, hee hee, or they'll say like one of the ad libs, just because that's what.
Yeah. Shamo. You know, like
Yeah,
like not even a real word.
Yeah, exactly. It really ain't a real word. I just realized that.
Trademark though.
Yeah, exactly.
We gotta create our own. We're still trying to figure out what's the carpool ad lib.
We're working to that level.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if you can like consciously create that. It probably has to just come out one day, you know, at a performance or in practice or
Definitely something natural.
Just your personality communicated through the music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how was you guys invited me to come out to your show in the city. It just didn't work out for me. I'm not that close to New York City, so it's a bit of a journey, but how was that coming out and playing? Sound like you guys had a pretty cool time. And there's video of it too, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was an awesome time. It's hard to understate how much fun we really had. I don't know. It just was like, again, the second trip, we were like, we really got to nail this and do it right. Lots of people came and just like showed support, and it was just like a really fun time. I don't know. I give it an A+. I feel like I just had a great time.
Yeah, I mean, it was good vibes all around. I think we were just like not overwhelmed wouldn't be the word, but really just surprised by like the turnout we were able to get going from out of state and just seeing that there was still a really good amount of people who were able to participate and that they had a really good reception of it afterwards. So many people were like coming up and talking to us and we just were able to network off of that. We love when it just is, you know, easy to meet people who are similar spirited or like creative spirited and they're just trying to go along the same journey that we are.
Yeah, sure. It was
Right.
definitely fun.
Can you guys tell me a little bit about how the live performance works? You've got some instruments, guitar and bass, vocals. There's also beats going on as well. How do you set that up? What's happening behind the scenes there?
It's a bit of mad science. I definitely can say it's like a little bit of chemicals over here, some over here, and then Walter White like puts it together. And in this analogy, I think Kent would probably be Walter White because it's usually running off of his computer. But we strip the songs down to their elements, and then we kind of assign a part of the melody to each person. So I would say usually Kent is going to be doing the guitar stuff, and then for me, I'll take over the bass aspect of it. And then for our drums, we usually put those onto the computer, and then we'll run those out of the sound system of the venue. But I'm sure Kent could share some more about it.
Yeah, we have like a couple different ways in which we perform. I would say like currently our full loadout actually includes 4 of us, and we got to shout out our brother Good Blue. He's also on guitar as well. And basically, like he said, it'll be like, you know, the laptop, and that'll just have like the necessary drum patterns and whatever we can work off with that. And then, you know, Renzo will lay down the bass line. Good Blue and I will play guitar over the parts, and then we'll just all do our vocals. And there may be some shows where we might invite a drummer, depending on if the vibe is really set up for that. But that's kind of how it works.
Are you running like some kind of software to play back the tracks, or?
Yeah, we use Ableton Live actually for our live shows, but that's actually not the DAW that we work off of to make the songs, which is kind of funny.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'm a big Ableton Live user. That's
yeah,
you know,
certified.
You guys definitely have it best for lives. We'll never try and take that from you.
Sure.
What's that? Like the
Or like Ableton's like setup. I just feel like it works best in a live setting for like recording and like performing with it. Even using like plugins and stuff, it usually runs pretty smoothly. We've kind of moved away from incorporating a lot of plugins into the live setting as of now, just because we don't want anything to go wrong. But we've started testing analog auto tune with our live performances just for certain songs that feel like they need that flavor.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I use Live for performance, and I do the same thing. It's like only Ableton plugins, you know, only their devices. Because most of the time, if I ever get a crash or ever get some kind of hang up, it's because of something that I tried to load into the project. But the stuff that they've got is, you know, it's designed to run inside there, so it's going to be more stable. And for a long time, the only other plugin I would use live was Nectar by Isotope, and for auto-tune stuff. But now they got inside of Live is Auto Shift. It's an auto tuner in the new update, so it's like I don't need that anymore.
All in the box,
you know? Yeah, keep it like all in the family, kind of, you know, so like we don't have any problems.
The stock tools are powerful though, especially
you can do a lot with them.
Yeah, and any DAW. I mean, especially as the years have gone by, I mean, things have just been upgraded, and a lot of people think they need to get like the next plugin, the next device, but most of the time it's about learning what you have already. And there's gaps you can fill, of course, and there's a lot of plugins that do things really well and in a cool way. But I think many people, especially people when they're starting out, would be surprised to realize how much you can get done with, I mean, even if you just have like GarageBand on your phone.
Yeah.
You're so far ahead of where we were, you know, 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Exactly.
It's wild.
No, honestly, that's a good point. I feel like just you end up going back to things a lot of times, and then you realize you actually had the tools you needed the entire time. It's just you had to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah. Right.
Sometimes the limitations make you even more creative too, because you have to figure out a different way to try and get to the same end result.
I guess that must happen a lot in the live performance, right? Because it's 3 people or sometimes 4.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely had to problem solve on the fly quite a few times.
Yeah.
I think as of late, we tried to avoid as much problem solving on the fly as we can, but it's always good to have that toolkit in the back pocket to pull out if we ever have to MacGyver something.
Honestly, I think I'm blanking on the last time it happened really bad, but I would say that I think whatever that time was, it made us start over preparing for our shows now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's like sometimes people have this conception like if you have the computer, like it's kind of doing all the work for you.
Yeah.
But you have to do a lot of prep work to get that ready to bring this to a stage, especially, and have a cohesive performance so that you're not spending 10 minutes loading songs in between songs and, you know, searching for things on your computer while you're playing.
I will say that's the benefit to Ableton is that it loads like immediately. And I feel like other DAWs sometimes it kind of takes a little second to get what you need.
What do you guys use for the recording part, the production?
It's kind of a mix. Renzo uses FL and makes a lot of beats on there. I use Logic, and I guess that's where like the vocals are mainly recorded at and where the mixing is done for at least the last two projects, but kind of floats in between those two.
Nice. I was a Logic user for a while until I discovered Ableton Live.
Yeah. Switched it up.
Yeah, it just felt like a songwriting tool for me. I was in Pro Tools for a while, I was in Logic, and I think if I was an engineer in a studio with like the desk and everything, like those particular DAWs would have been a little better, but that wasn't what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
Like, in the basement trying to make tracks by myself. So
definitely.
Definitely gravitated towards Live for that reason.
That definitely makes sense. I mean, I feel like it's kind of like everybody just figures out eventually which one helps them make the best song, and then you end up just sticking with that, and it's like from then on,
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't knock nobody's dog. Whatever dog you choose, just give us some good music.
Yeah,
that's right. The listener's not wondering, hey, what did you use?
Yeah.
Pro Tools, Logic?
Yeah.
Before I turn this on.
Give us something good,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like how you use it.
Oh, okay, got you, bro.
Yeah.
All right.
Appreciate
the villain is on the loose.
I appreciate y'all having me. I appreciate you having me, Brian.
Yeah, hey,
See you
thanks
guys
for
later.
coming, and thanks for making cool music.
Yes, sir.
Best of luck to you.
I wish I had more time to talk to you, man, but I had a, you know how it goes.
No problem.
All
I
right,
know.
y'all.
Well, I'm glad you found the time you did.
Yes, sir.
All right,
I
bro.
appreciate
Take care.
We'll talk to you soon.
All right, Ronnie.
Cool. All right, we're down to 3 now. There's 3 of us. I think I said to you guys beforehand, I think that's the most people I've ever had on a call for the podcast before. So, yeah, I think so. I've done 2 a couple times. Yeah.
Set a new record.
Have that distinction, yep.
We always roll deep, so it's not anything new for us.
Nice.
But
when you guys like make your songs, how does it come about? Does it start out in the studio? Does it start out with like some jamming? Do you work together, separate?
A lot of different ways. Honestly, all of the above.
Yeah, you described like a couple of the techniques. I think that our whole process has gone through a transformation recently because we've been trying to do more, like, I wouldn't even say analog because we're still recording it into a DAW, but just jamming out a whole idea and just sitting on that and letting it sit for like 20 minutes and then moving on to a new idea, versus before we used to try and just make everything digital and then add in like our instrumentation on top, or like start with some drums maybe and then add instrumentation to that.
Yeah, I could definitely agree. I mean, I feel like it's just been, as our careers progressed, we used to be like everything was digital, and then we started gaining more confidence in the playing and started trying to create things based off of that. And like you said, I would say this year mostly we've been trying to like have a full jam session and then maybe build the record off of what came from that.
So you guys kind of playing and then listening for like the cool things that happen along the way?
Exactly.
Yeah, nice. I like to do that a lot, even like in the stuff I do by myself. I might set up a beat or something and then just play for a while.
Yeah.
Recording everything, but then later come back and be like, all right, like that was a cool 4 bars. That was a cool little riff or a cool vocal line or whatever it is. It helps me forget that red recording light is on, because like, how that changes everything. You're like playing, it feels great. Then you hit the button and you're like, uh-oh.
Why is that? You always get the best ideas when the recording button is off. That's why we've had to train ourselves to just always press record as soon as we start doing anything musical. Otherwise we miss the like golden idea.
Yeah. Every single time. Yeah. You hit record and then it's like, what idea was I even trying to lay down? I don't know why that happens.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, you're being watched or something.
Yeah.
Well, I think like, I don't know, maybe it's related, but they say like in quantum physics, right? Like there's all that like possibility, like before anyone is observing.
It's a 1 and a 0 at the same time until you perceive it, and then it becomes a 1 or a 0.
Right. It becomes something all of a sudden once you monitor. Maybe on some like weird small level, we're all a bunch of little parts put together anyway, right? So maybe something weird like that happens. We're suddenly like, uh-oh, now we're watching, now we're paying attention.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's that you start perceiving the time more when you start recording, and then you're like, wait a minute, the rhythm isn't exactly like how it's supposed to be. Or that once you start putting time to it, that's when it's like this has to be perfectly locked in.
Mm,
Might be something like the metronome distracts you. 'Cause I feel like any other noise will like actually make me forget the idea.
yeah, right. I don't like playing to metronomes. I'll just always program like a beat, or even if it's like kick drum, 4 kicks.
Yeah.
Just something about like that metronome click. It sounds like work, or uh, I should be doing scales or something like that to it.
Mm,
It's not musical, you know what I mean?
yeah.
No groove to it. It's funny though
Yeah.
because the Ableton metronome, I feel like it's been on a couple of songs. I'm like blanking right now, but
Yeah.
I know I've heard it on like at
It's
least.
on World Star by Childish Gambino.
Yeah,
Is it?
Yeah.
That's funny. Gotta check that out. Right. You recognize that, like, oh. It has a similar effect on me as when my alarm on my phone goes off when I'm awake. Because, I'm so used to hearing that, like, to knock me out of a dream or something in the morning to wake me up. But then when I hear it during the day, it's almost like, am I about to wake up and realize I've been dreaming this whole day?
it's triggering.
That metronome comes on. It's like, whoa, that's like, gotta straighten up my act. Yeah. We do the same thing with my band. And we're a 3-piece, like garage rock thing, guitar, bass, and drums.
Yeah.
And when practice starts, I open up my template. It's got everything mic'd up. I hit record, and then we record for like 3 hours, or until we take a break or something, And it just allows us to not worry about it, because we used to do it where, like, all right, we're going to play the song now. Okay, let me hit record. And then it's like, everyone, all the like life comes out of it. It just becomes tense instead of that kind of fun energy you get when you're working with other people, where you lose yourself in it.
No, it's like you almost have to accidentally record it. I feel like that's also why we will take our like phones out and we'll do like a voice memo just in case
Yeah.
the DAW didn't get it.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes those voice memos, like the phone mic, it's pretty darn good now.
Pretty
You can
good.
get some,
Yeah.
you can get some decent recordings off of it.
I think we used a sample. I think it was during our last New York trip when we were taking a walk, and like the walkway sign, and it'll be like wait, and then it does like a little timer. And
Yeah.
I think we sampled that and threw it in one of the songs.
Yeah, on Nina
Nice.
on Creature Mode Velocity. If you listen to Mike's verse, the first verse, there's like the crossing sign sound effect on there.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, that's a great idea. Like this, what is music anyway, It's organized sound, it's organized noise even. So if you like notice something that's kind of interesting and you can find a way to put it in there, especially when you start repeating it, the phrase, or looping it, it starts to become musical all of a sudden.
Yeah,
There's something kind of magical to that.
definitely so.
And like he said, JPEG Mafia. I feel like that's one of the not the secret to his sauce, but that's a part of his whole thesis and like ethos is that anything is music. So it's like sample something that was never supposed to be musical, turn it into a musical idea, and then you usually get something really wild sounding.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a moment in time, right? Like when you guys recorded that crosswalk. Wait, I know exactly what you're talking about. And then, like it beeps, and there's other stuff happening in the background. There's cars coming by, or there's birds chirping, or people having a conversation, and you could never record it that way exactly ever again. Even if you stood there 2 minutes later, it would just be different.
Yeah,
There's something really magical about you got that moment in time, and now it's in the music.
that is true too. I never really thought of it like that. 'Cause it'll be different sounds next time you go back, or something else will be different about the moment itself.
Yeah.
That's literally what the music is too, though. You're just capturing that one moment where it was
Yeah.
the perfect, loop or the perfect pattern.
Mm.
Like screenshotting your life at a certain point in time.
Yeah, that's true. Screenshotting your life.
Good music is just a good screenshot.
Yeah. Yeah, they like we can clean things up so much now. You know, we can edit away all the noise and we can use samples that are perfectly recorded at the finest studios with the best mics and engineers. And sometimes it doesn't add up right. It lacks a life or something. But these days when I'm recording, I'm like, I don't even care what's going on around me half the time. If the dog barks or, you know, somebody's talking in the background. Sometimes that just becomes the cool, weird thing that catches your ear in the song and makes you want to hear it again and be like, what's going on there?
Yeah.
Helps paint the picture or build the world of the song.
Definitely. It just captures that entire moment. I know exactly what you mean, because I think there's a couple songs that we've tried to do like outdoors just to see if that would make us write different lyrics or choose different chords or whatever. And sometimes you will record a vocal and some like birds will be chirping or something in the background. It just adds to the vibe.
Right. That's
Even
a cool
as simple as
exercise.
the smoke alarm needing a battery replacement, doing that little beep noise. I feel like I've heard songs with that in it before. But it really does give it just that extra bit of uniqueness and like life to it.
You know, I saw like some video. It was like some celebrity was going on a rant in their house or something. I forget exactly what it was, but in the background, that little like battery beep noise from the smoke alarm was going off, and that was what everyone was commenting on. It's like, yo, you've made millions of dollars in the movies. You can't change your battery. It's like, you know, even whoever it was has these like real world problems, you know?
Honestly, it's a really adult moment because it just happened to me a couple of days ago. And I was like, now I understand why my parents always had that beeping noise. They were like, we're too busy to switch out this battery. We'll do it eventually.
Right. Yeah, I got to climb up there and undo it.
Too much work.
Too much.
For that, you know, quarter of a second of irritation every minute or two. It's like,
because everyone who lives in the house eventually goes like blind to the noise. They never hear it anymore. It's only when guests come over and they're like, what is that noise that keeps going off?
Right. It's interesting. I wonder, I guess that happens in our music too. Like the things we hear in it, we kind of go blind to a little bit and then people hear it.
Maybe so.
And there, yeah. Can you guys tell me a little? It sounds like you have a good story of how you guys got together and started making music together. You want to share that a little bit?
Yeah. I guess we both have like different perspectives of it, but for mine, I met Mike first. Like I was saying, we went to NC State, so all of us were in Raleigh, and they had like a studio inside the library that students could use. So I was just pulling up there like all the time my freshman year, and I think it was like right before the holidays or maybe around this time, I met Mike, and we just started recording on some stuff. You know, just kind of got to know each other that way. And then second semester, I met Renzo because like one of my friends was like, "Bro, this guy's like a crazy singer. You have to come down here and come meet him right now." And I was like, okay, cool. So like, I think I majored in computer science my first year. So I was like, okay, I'm definitely leaving. I don't care about this at all, whatever. And I go down there, I meet him, and he's got like this like Childish Gambino t-shirt on. And it's got like all of the albums up until like, I think Awaken My Love was on there.
Yeah.
And we had like this whole like just combo about that because we both love Childish Gambino. And I think it just kind of made us start recording stuff. And then Mike and I, we started making music. We take a trip to California in 2018. And around that time, I had been messaging somebody on Instagram just about guitars and random stuff like that. And he happened to live in California. So when we got there, we decided to meet, and that was Good Blue. And kind of joined up, started making some stuff, and that's how the band came together.
How far back are we going? How long you guys been doing this for?
Well, as a group, you said what?
Yeah.
I think it's like 6 or 7 years now.
Yeah, it's about 6 or 7 years, yeah. Individually, though, we've kind of all had our own like timeline with making music as well, too, though. But yeah.
Yeah, it takes a little time for that chemistry to build a bit, too, you know, where you start to understand each other and kind of intuit what they're going to do and how to react to what they're playing.
Yeah, exactly. I think that also too, though, is kind of like we just naturally had like a similar taste in music. Especially when we were younger. I think that we just had like certain artists like Tyler the Creator or like Mac Miller or like just whoever that we all just kind of knew that we
Mm.
liked. And something about the inspiration and the vibe off of that kind of helped us find the right place. You know what I'm saying? To like land and sort of everybody have their own ideas and we can all be like, okay, we like this, and it moves towards like a more finished project.
Right. Yeah, you're all bringing your own thing, but there's sort of a commonality that
Yeah,
works with it.
exactly.
And even beyond the music too, I feel like another thing we really did connect on that maybe is a part of the story is business too, because we were really interested in like networking, meeting other people to create more opportunities for whatever would be in our future. And so I think we both saw that in one another that we were trying to like play more shows and like expand our network outside of just our social group and just our local area. So there's always been like a aspiration in that way between our all of the members, and I think we just have been pushing it that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big part of it, right? I think a lot of people that get into music find themselves in a lot of other things as a result, like,
Definitely.
Content creation, networking, like you said, or building websites, or I mean, there's so many things that I don't think I would ever have done if it wasn't because it would help me get music out there and learn more about it and reach new people.
Exactly. And I was gonna say, I feel like that kind of creates like a positive loop in your life when you're able to like do that. Because I think, like Renzo was saying, we know we came together because we all like had a passion for music, and we were willing to say, "I'll learn whatever it takes in order for the music to like do what I want it to do." And I think that maybe also in our personal lives, from doing that, we picked up some skills that then maybe got us a job in our personal life, or like whatever we might have learned from a job or from school, we applied to music, and it would just kind of continue in sort of a way like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never really thought about that. Um, I teach high school English as my day job,
Nice.
and um, a lot of people at my job think I'm like some tech whiz with the computers, and
Yeah.
I'm not. I just, basic stuff that you learn because you want to make music on your computer, right? That's like why I know anything about computer. I probably wouldn't even have a computer if I didn't play music.
Honestly,
So,
basic to you though, but to somebody else, it probably seems like it's a whole nother coding language to try and understand how to connect the piano to the computer or whatever it may be, or connecting to
yeah.
your face.
Well, like the thing I run into a lot is like their like smart board won't display or the sound won't come through. I'm like, oh, I know how to get the audio out of the computer into the thing, like it's like connecting my guitar to my amp.
Perfect guy for that. They run to your room.
It's true. It does happen, and I always kind of laugh, but there's a lot of transference in skills, and I think even like personally, socially, like when you guys are playing music together, for instance, you're both playing guitar, you sort of have to like have a conversation a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I've played with people where they're just going, they're doing their thing, and you're just trying to like hop on their train and figure out how to fit in, but they're not, paying attention to what you're doing at all.
Mm.
And then other people, you can tell they're like, all right, let's drive this train together and let's see what we can do. And it's a lot like that with interacting with other people, like kind of, how are they feeling to what I'm saying? How are they reacting? Are they comfortable? Are they stressed out? And, I'm sure we all know people that don't pay any attention to that, and other people too. And they're like difficult to be around.
Yeah. No, definitely. It is kind of a good point. I feel like after a while, you learn that music is also about listening as much as it is about playing. And like you said, in real life, that applies to a lot of situations as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was Miles Davis. It was like, the most important notes are the notes I don't play.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Definitely.
And what impact a note has is often largely dependent on the notes around it, and sometimes the silence around it, and what you might be doing on, say, like the bass or the guitar that makes this note really come through on this other instrument.
No, definitely. I mean, context, it's so huge. And I feel like we're still trying to work towards a more perfect version of that too, because there's already so much going on with what we produce that I feel like all still trying to find that perfect balance of silence with choosing the right notes, you know?
Yeah, because it's almost at odd, not even at odds with who we are, but I think that if we would never describe ourselves as minimalists, we would definitely lean more towards maximalist. And I think that a part of creating the beautiful music is really learning where to leave those spaces of silence and knowing when to like take away and carve away, really have a subtractive process. I think that that's kind of where our bread and butter is that we have a very subtractive process. We try and, throw as many layers and ideas on as we can, and then we start taking it down and taking it to its bare best idea, and then just keeping whatever little adornishments we want to from that initial session.
Mm. Yeah, you build it up real big, and then it's like it's sculpting away at the stone to find the statue.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of my favorite ways to actually get my ideas into songs, because like as an Ableton Live user, it's very easy to be in session view and just like build a loop up. You have 4 or 8 bars and you got this like huge thing happening. And it's like, yeah, this part's great. But then it's like, now what? So a lot of times stretch it out across that timeline in the arrangement view and then start taking things out. What does it sound like when just the drums and the bass play? Like, oh, that's kind of nice. It makes it sound cool when the other parts come in.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, the first thing I recorded winds up in the trash. It might be like a guitar I was strumming away on. And since it was the first thing, you have to fill out the space. So you're just strumming and strumming and strumming. But then when it's in the whole context of the arrangement, it's like, it's too busy. Like, it sounds better without it.
Yeah. No, I think that we've kind of gone through the same thing too. It's like you build off, maybe even like a sample or something. You build off of something and then you end up just subtracting that because everything sounds better without it.
Especially when we listen to stuff on a loop for so long in the DAW, it's like, I actually hate this now. Let me turn this off and then just keep the new idea that I put on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll like sample something and then build on it, and then the sample winds up in the garbage.
Sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
Or
That's
even doing
cool,
that on
right?
purpose too, like trying to recreate the sample. Like I feel like Kent has done that a lot. Like find a sample, figure out what the loop is going to be, but then just replay all the instruments from the original sample, and then you don't even need the sample anymore because you have it right there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you can sort of jam with the sample, go up with your own parts, and
Exactly.
yeah, that's a fun way to do it. Gives you a lot of a lot of, for me, like sampling. Like if I'm going to sample like a song, which I don't think I've ever like done a track that did that, but I have done things where I sample something, build on it, and it gives me like the vibe, or the groove, maybe like the certain drum beat has a feel and I'm playing off of it. And then I can take it out and I've got that feeling still, kind of that movement or whatever it is, the flow that the song has. That's kind of hard to recreate when you're programming things in and doing it all by hand or whatever.
Yeah, not true. I think that's also why we like to do the jamming thing too, because it kind of just like spreads the work out for one, but also it just gives you like the energy to go back and forth on, and eventually you'll find that final product.
I can kind of see with maturity too how like computers have become so integral to our lives every day that we use the computer, outside of musical work, and it makes it to where when we get to doing musical work, we're like, actually, let's just stick to doing the instruments. That way we don't have to use technology and too much and like overuse it as a part of our day.
Yeah. So I've got like a laptop that I use. I don't have a desktop. It's all just on the laptop. So it's got like the trackpad on it, where you just kind of move your finger.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think about it and I'm like, all I'm doing is this motion with my finger, right? Just on that trackpad. And if I do it in a certain pattern, a song comes out. If I do it in another pattern, like a Facebook page loads or like an email gets sent or like it's just wild that these like little tiny motions we do with our hands can make a totally different result depending on what you're doing. But sometimes the music work starts to feel just like sending an email. And it's nice to get away from those little just finger wiggling motions and play a guitar, play a keyboard, or even like a MIDI controller, bang out like a beat on it or something.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel like that.
That's what's so beautiful about being like or being creative, and even just not music, but like visual art too. It's like the emotion, the human creativity will create an impact that could live on past, our time on this planet, and also make a huge impact in someone else's life. So many songs have, changed the world just off of words and repetition.
Sometimes, when the spirit is low, I can start thinking about like music and what I'm doing, and it's like it feels really trivial, right? You're making little noises and singing about like your problems or whatever you're doing, right? You're making these silly songs. And I can almost like get this feeling of like, what's the point? What are we doing? Like there's so many things going on in the world. There's so much you could be doing to contribute. And here you are like tinkering with like a kick drum running through like some plugins or something. But like you said, right? Like I can't tell you how many times in my life, like when I felt like that, where it was the very thing that helped me through it was a song or a piece of music, or even just playing the guitar, playing music myself. There's something really valuable to it.
Yeah, no, we need that expression.
Yeah.
It's just inherently human. Like you said, it's truly expression, self-expression. Sometimes you can't just like you can't let out what you need to just by saying something or just by exercising or doing it. You have to like create, whether it's fashion, it's art, it's music, whatever it could be. I just think that that's like a huge part of life. And I feel like me personally, I couldn't even imagine what my life would be like if I didn't create in some type of space.
No, I can say the same. Yeah.
I think there'd be fewer smiles on my face.
Yeah, I definitely could see myself in a more grays in my outfit choices.
Yeah.
A lot more suits.
More grays in my hair.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. It helps a lot getting that out. Because it's one of those things, and I think especially when you play live, when you play with other people too, that you can just forget your problems for a little while. It's not like they go away, but you kind of forget them. And then when you're done, you come back, and instead of looking at your problems from here, now you're over on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look so bad, It looks like this wide when you're staring at it, but then when you look at it from the side, it's like real thin and narrow, And time away from that, and often something where you're losing yourself rather than just ruminating on whatever it is that's bothering you for hours and hours. It's really a healthy and important thing.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. It's like just being able to have that perspective shift is so important. And it's kind of similar to like if you go work out, it's like a good benefit for your mental health. And I feel like music and sports are kind of the same to me in that way, where it's like sometimes I just need to do this just for the sake of like letting my mind rest and think about other things so I can come back to whatever it is in life and, have that new perspective that I need.
Yeah, very true. Because you kind of can't be thinking about problems in the game, or when you're exercising, you're just trying to like survive and exert yourself and all that.
Trying to make it through this run instead of worrying about all these problems.
Yeah, and it's a healthy expression of that. I think like we have like we are the descendants of people that like had to fight to survive and had to really go through some crazy stuff to survive. Now it's like, I don't wake up in the morning wondering if I'm going to have to outrun like some kind of carnivore.
True.
But I still think we have that programming in us. So it's really important to physically get that out and not just think about it all the time.
Good point.
It's kind of like that with music, though. If you start ruminating on the track, like you were saying before, like give it 20 minutes and then leave it alone and come back later. you almost need to do it for that too, because if you don't, then it becomes the problem.
Yeah, it's kind of
You'll
sorry.
shoot yourself in the foot trying to like perfect an idea when really you just needed to give it time to cook and then come back to it with a fresh eye. And I definitely have had to teach myself that in every creative fashion. It's like sometimes it's better to just step away from a project and come back with a fresh mind, fresh ear, fresh eye.
Part of the puzzle I'm trying to solve with myself is, like seeing ideas through. I think a lot of people have hard drives full of unfinished ideas and stuff. And something that really does help me is like working at this kind of almost faster than I can go speed. Just top speed, just that part's good. Next part, move on, go. That's the chord progression. And just keep going, right? And it's helpful, but there's also that other side of it. Like you said, like sometimes you can't do that. It needs to sit, it needs to wait. And figuring out when it's time to, be the kind of like just full speed ahead guy or the patient, like let it happen, let it grow like a garden or something. It's hard to know when that is. Do you guys like run into that? Like you figure out ways to deal with like creative blocks and challenges along the way?
Honestly, that happens to us all the time. And sometimes there will be projects that are like 4 years old. And one of us will just be like, yo, do you remember this song? And then all of us will get excited about it. It's like, yo, let's finish that and put it out. Just kind of letting things sit. Definitely, I guess it's sort of like wine or something where it's like it's got to age so that way it can be perceived properly or whatever. But no, I mean, there's tons of times where I feel like we'll have an idea and we'll let that thing rest forever and then we'll come back to it. And that's what it needed, was for us to like mature as people or just to go through other experiences to give it like the context that it needs to be successful.
Yeah, I think like creating things, sometimes we can come from a place of insecurity too, and think that if you don't put out your idea fast enough, it's like, oh, somebody else is going to steal this idea or somebody else is going to do something and then everyone won't care about this idea when I'm ready to share it. But I also, I don't know who said this quote, but it's like, it's not about who did it first, it's about who did it right. And so you could sit on an idea, somebody could have already had the idea first, but just because somebody did it first doesn't mean that their idea is superior or subverts yours.
Right. Yeah, because only you are going to do it your way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's kind of the superpower we all have is
You are you.
You are you, yeah. And even if like of course there's like flaws built into that. There's things I can't do exactly right, but I find a weird way around that. And sometimes that's the style, and sometimes that makes it more relatable because it's real. And embracing that can be tough. Like you said, insecurity, I think is what the word you said. And it requires so much vulnerability too, especially when you're working with other people. You have to be able to go there and like kind of let yourself be exposed in front of other people.
Sometimes.
What's that?
That part is hard sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. I get the feeling though, you guys have been through this enough times, long enough together, that you have some comfort with each other in that.
Yeah, I could definitely say that.
Yeah, I definitely think we do, like on a professional level and on a friendship level, for sure. There's that like connection that's able to help us to keep creating. But honestly, as far as process goes, I feel like we're always rediscovering it too. We figure out like one way and it works to create a collection of ideas, but then we want to make new ideas and we're like, actually, we need to remove the canvas. And this time we're painting on the floor just because we need to like switch up the way that we go about creating our ideas.
Has anything like that happened recently that you can think of? Anything you've tried together or?
Good question.
The crazy.
Or any of the folks at home.
Maybe it has been with like
start.
the new perspective of like jamming to create the songs as opposed to like Like normally it would be like he might have a beat or I might have a beat or in like a verse or just part of a song, and then we bring it to the table and everybody likes it and records on it, or we don't, and it just gets shelved. And I kind of feel like as of late we've had a lot of sessions of just like hitting record, we'll jam, we'll see what comes out of it, and then I think that gives the song a bit more freedom of like where it can go instead of being like locked into the box and to whoever originally produced it and what they made. But yeah.
On the spot, like nothing is really jumping to me, but I do feel like sometimes we'll employ like a found footage type or found audio type of strategy to our music, like how we said about the song where we sampled the walking sign where it's like wait, like we were just walking and we heard it and we were like that'd be cool. I don't remember which one of us said it. It might have been Kent, it might have been Mike, but said that would be cool in the song, let's record it. And then we just went to the studio that day and literally put it into the song, and we're like that's exactly what we wanted. So sometimes it's just like we hear something, we'll be out eating and we maybe hear a sample or something playing on the radio in a restaurant that's like a culture none of us are familiar with, and then that will create a whole nother idea just because we paused in that moment and we're like we need to Shazam this now, we can't miss out on this because this is giving my brain like that itch when you know you're about to have a good idea.
Yeah, being like aware that is important, having that ear open all the time, right? Like somebody decided, hey, that'd be cool to sample, hey, do that. Yeah, it's mixing it up like that is good. With the band I play with the guys I'm with, we'll often, like I play guitar and my buddy Alex plays bass and my friend Chris plays drums, and sometimes Chris and I will switch. He'll get on the guitar and I'll play the drums, and there's vocal mics on them all. And I do most of the singing in the band on guitar though. But when I get on the drums, like the only way I can really sing when I'm playing the drums, just because of my limited abilities in both areas, is like together. So it becomes very percussive. It's like like the words come out as I'm playing.
Getting your James Brown bag at that point.
Yeah, it becomes like a rhythm thing. So totally different types of songs come out of that I just wouldn't do strumming a guitar, playing guitar chords or something like that, because my whole body is trying to hold this rhythm, so the voice has to kind of follow.
Yeah.
But it's a fresh, yeah, it's really fun. It's exciting, and it also kind of removes some of the like pressure, you know, like because I don't really play drums in the band, you know, so what? And you know, if someone else starts singing, it's like, yeah, I'm not the singer, but you know, we're just having fun, and it's not serious anymore, you know.
Yeah.
You guys were saying one thing that you were all kind of drawn to each other with was that you had like sort of like this business mind, this like kind of taking it seriously. But there's also a point like with your music, and I feel this in the stuff I've been listening to, is that you're kind of not so serious at the same time with it. Like you're kind of light about it at some time.
Yeah. We definitely have had to learn like when to be serious, when to just let it be fun, because there definitely can come a point where, you know, you're hammering down too much, you know, you're trying to make everything too rigid, and then it just takes the fun out of it, you know. And I can say that I feel like maybe we've almost gotten into that corner and then we've pulled ourselves out of it at the last second and kind of figured out like when is the time to be in which bag. But yeah, no, I think that's a good assessment.
And I think that we're able to still remember to have fun, because whenever we all get together, it just already seems like a moment to celebrate that we're all together to like commune, and just whether it's create or whether it's just to share each other's like space, it brings an excitement to us. I think that where the seriousness comes in is just really having wisdom from how musicians have, you know, been treated historically, and just always keeping that in mind so that we protect ourselves. That way we're never like taken advantage of or put ourselves in a situation where we're like, I don't like how this is. It seems one-sided for one person. We just try and make sure, you know, we always get what we're worth.
Yeah.
We're lucky, right? In that we had people like that were sadly like totally exploited by managers or record labels. You know, the these like cautionary tales that some of like the biggest artists ever too. I was just watching like the Elvis movie that came out not too long ago.
Yeah.
And like Elvis was like in really bad financial shape at one point. And you're like, what? Elvis? Like,
You never know because it's all
crazy.
about like the image. So they just project an image of like success or like wealth, and luxury, but in behind closed doors, the car's getting repossessed and the lights aren't turning on.
yeah, like the
Be
manager's taking way more than they're supposed to. I mean, there's so many stories like that have happened. Now at least we kind of have some sense of some of the potholes that are in the road that we can drive around. You know, we have like headlights at least on our car now. They were just driving off cliffs half the time.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like that's kind of why we feel like we have a responsibility to like hold ourselves accountable and try our best not to put ourselves in situations that reflect that or just eliminate options for us, you know?
Right. Yeah, it's true. It's sometimes it can be very tempting. It sounds like a great offer or it'll be great exposure.
Yeah. It's always the word.
That's a dangerous word to hear from anybody.
It's
It'll
a
be great
triggering word.
exposure. Yeah. That is like a shyster word.
Exactly. Yeah. Whenever you hear that, it's like it's time to start listening a little bit closer. But I feel like we've kind of learned to navigate those type of situations and also still try and be like I'm sure you can tell from us, like we're really friendly and we always are down to work with other people who are like creative and constantly trying to like expand our network too. But I think we try and just be smart about the way we do it. One thing my mom has said before, it's like it doesn't cost anything for a candle to light another candle. So we're always down to like uplift other people and like try and give a light to them, just like how we expect, or not expect, but we hope other people feel the same for us.
You said it doesn't cost anything for a candle to light another. That's great. Yeah,
My
and
mom
in fact,
all the good quotes, I swear.
I know moms, right? Like, we never listened to them when we were kids, but now we're like, oh yeah,
Starts
damn.
making sense.
Calling back for the advice.
Yeah. But in fact, like in that metaphor, it actually only benefits that candle because now, like the goal of illuminating the room.
Exactly. That's that's kind of the whole idea, is that it's just making it brighter for everyone. So it really is only going to help us all out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true in music. You know, if there's like a group you guys have a show with or something, the shows only get better when you work together, when you lift each other up, you know, because now your fans are exposed to them and their fans are exposed to you, and it even becomes like a little bit of a movement that starts to happen. And, you know, there's so many of those different cities in the world, Detroit with like Seattle and, you know, New York punk rock, like it wasn't one group that was just like, pew, and everyone followed. It was like they all came up together, and then maybe somebody kind of gets the lift off, but everyone else comes along for the ride half the time.
Yeah, it doesn't take away, from the contribution from all the members too. It's always going to be like a Nirvana or something, but it doesn't mean there's no like Oasis, Soundgarden, and like a ton of other artists that are within that same realm.
Yeah, a younger version of myself would feel like jealous or, you know, a little like, oh, what about me? Why can't I do that? But as I've seen, you know, like anyone that has a success or victory in this is just proof that it's possible. And being aligned with that, being around that is only benefits you. You learn from it. Sometimes it directly benefits you where you get, you know, invited to be with them, play with them, whatever it is. But just the fact that anybody can do it is uplifting. And that, I think, fuels the creativity and makes me want to come back and try again and keep working at it.
Yeah, it's like inspiration. I feel like it's just best to be around people who are actually trying to pursue the same thing as you, because then you can help each other. You guys have ideas you can share. And like you said, everybody goes up. Somebody eventually will go up as well. It's going to spread the wealth.
And it really is a blessing, like you said, just to even be able to create, or like that we have creativity and are able to make this music is a blessing in and of itself. And something Kent has definitely reminded me of before too is when we first moved to Los Angeles. We're like networking, meeting a lot of people, making tons of new music, and just really enjoying our lives. And he's like, maybe this is the moment that we've been like looking forward to and always imagining for ourselves, and we're living it right now. We need to just appreciate this moment for what it is, because we're building ourselves up and thinking we're aspiring for something else, but what if this was really what our calling was?
Mhm.
So was your move from North Carolina to California as a group with music in mind?
Oh yeah. It
Yeah?
was 2022, and we were all like, it was like, still post COVID, and we were just like, we can't be in the same place. We need a change of scenery. So I think it was, what was it, July, August, September, each one of us moved like one by one, and then we all ended up here.
Wow.
And I think had there
So-
not been COVID, it really might have even been like a 2020 move, but that just shifted all timelines.
Yeah. Yeah, what a weird gap in time, right? Everything just went crazy. But that's, I think, that kind of leap of faith thing. And but the presence of mind to realize like, hey, we're doing this. The worst thing that can happen is that you guys will be like 55, 60 years old, looking back on life. Wasn't it cool we gave that thing a shot? Remember when we
Yeah.
went and did that?
At least
You
being
know.
able to say that instead of being like, oh, what if we tried?
Yeah.
I don't want to
We
be
really
saying
should have just moved, took a chance when we could.
that.
I really feel like we even have a lyric literally where it's like we risk it all on passion. But I honestly feel like we really do. We're just the type where we can't live our life and think, what if we had done this? We just have to do it because we would hurt so much from having that curiosity in the back of our mind, questioning the life we abandoned or like the goal we abandoned, really.
Hmm. Well, we have this idea of like there's like secure paths in life, but there's no security in life. I mean, you just never know what the hell's going to happen. And even the paths that we're told when we're kids that are secure, go to college, get a job, like you do that and then you realize there's no jobs, or like
Yeah.
there's no guarantees to any of it. So like to not do what you love, to not take a swing,
Life's too
that
short
you
now.
definitely won't enjoy it that way, not taking your chances.
Exactly.
But to do it, yeah, that's got to be like just such a thrill to do that with your buddies and be like, here we are, new place, because you know each other. You've already got like a little group now, a group of friends, which I'm sure bonds you even more
Yeah.
in that situation.
It definitely helps like with creating the stuff with that premise of friendship. But then like you're saying on trips or playing shows, like just so many memories and experiences go into that are like, that's just contributing to the friendship at that point, Has
Yeah.
nothing to do with the music after then.
And I think
Right.
on a layer beyond too, it helps knowing that you're not crazy for wanting to pursue your passion or your creativity, and that there's other people who also are trying to do the same thing or feel like that similar drive in themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, people that remind you that you'd be crazy not to follow the things you love in life. It's amazing. Like you said, it's such a privilege in of itself, right? Like these are the problems we're solving. In this point in human history, we have that luxury be trying to make songs,
Yeah,
trying to
exactly.
get our music out there. It is such a, if we didn't have it, we'd be dying for it.
Very true.
So it's great to have, and that we live in such a good time for that kind of stuff. And you guys can go out, play, put out music. I can set up my own tour if I want to. I don't need a record label to get it on streaming service. Anything, YouTube, like I can just make a video. People could see it.
Yeah.
It just wasn't too long ago we didn't even have that. And
YouTube was
it's
created
inspiring.
during our lifetime. Yeah, that's that's crazy. There would be no way for us to even share a music video if YouTube didn't exist. I feel like that's been the hallmark of our whole story though is DIY, literally everything we've done. And I heard you mention it earlier on our during our conversation about how you've had to pick up a lot of different skills and like wear different hats, video editor or like content creator or whatever it may be, just because that's what it required to want to do this release music in this day and age. And I think we just have had to fall in line in the same way as pick up different skills. None of us know how to master music. Well, somebody's going to have to learn how to mix and master now because we need somebody to do it.
Every single time.
Yeah, I can remember in high school, like we had a band, a couple other kids had bands in school, and one of them came out with a website. We were like, what? A website? Like, how did you even do that? And they're like, I just like figured it out. And then like, okay. So then we figured it out. You know, to see like someone else could do that, we figured it out. We made one. And then we realized like, oh, we could press our own CDs. Like if we just pull together our band fund, you know, play some shows, like we can make our CD. And we did that. And it was like, how'd you do that? It's like, we just did it. You know, we just decided to do it and sent it away. And, you know, it was so crazy to like have that power.
Yeah.
That you know, and, but it kind of took other people seeing like other people like me did that. Like they're nothing different. They don't have superpowers, you know? And that's kind of like what I'm saying about like when people finish songs, put out albums and take a tour, have a good show, whatever. It's just proof that it's not impossible.
Yeah.
And,
no, I definitely agree. I feel like it's just, you see somebody do it and then it just inspires you to go and pick it up yourself. And the next person sees you do it and it builds up. And then everybody's kind of doing their thing.
There's something psychological. And I think it's the story of like the 4-minute mile. I think it's 4. I don't know if maybe it's 5. Do people run miles faster than 4 minutes? Or
Jordan's the one to ask. I don't know anything about that.
I'm really not sure. I want to say 5 or 6 might be average. I think 6 is average.
Well, it's not. I don't think that's average. That's pretty.
6 to 7 sounds right to me.
But whatever the time was, I think it was 4 minutes. It was like people were convinced like human beings can't do that. It's just physically impossible until somebody did it. And then other people started doing it after that person did it. It was like we all had this kind of limit on ourselves that was not real, but we just decided and agreed. And then boom, next thing you know, we're doing it. And there's so many things like that, like airplanes. It's impossible. You can't do it. And then, you know, like the Wright brothers do it and whatever, it was like 1919 or whatever.
Yeah.
And like 40 years later, we're on the moon.
Somebody to break the glass ceiling.
Yeah, exactly. It's great it's a much more healthy way to look at it that way than like, oh, those Wright brothers did it. How come it wasn't me? I hate them. You know, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, things I guess you learn from music, right? Things that life lessons you can take away from it.
Never know what it can apply to later in life.
Yeah. So what are you guys up to now? You're back home. You were in New York just a few weeks ago. And now you're back home. Any plans for now or taking time?
We have a couple shows in November that we're preparing for. So, you know, Carpool is like the group that you've been introduced to, but we also do like some stuff outside of there. And we have a show with one of our collaborators, Arlena, and that's a little group we have called the Nod Theory. So we're doing a show for that. Okay. I'm pretty sure another Carpool show in November. So getting on stage, practicing, seeing what's going on with that, and maybe some new videos and other things. We'll see.
Definitely
Nice.
some new accompaniment to the music that we've already released and like some new like visuals to go along with that. Just trying to keep pushing that. I think just finish the year strong too. I feel like we've had a really good year so far, and I've like I'll say just for myself, I'm proud of us for what we've been able to accomplish just in 3 quarters of the year. So I want to see what we do with this last little quarter.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Oh, that's fun. So adding the new element to the live show, some stuff for people to see.
We'll definitely be
I think
coming
it's
back around your way. So hopefully there'll be one that's close enough.
yeah, keep me posted, please. I think what you guys do is cool. It's nice to see like live musicians playing, and especially in like a hip hop genre, you know, with like to see like you guys doing so much like melodic stuff and musical. It's funny, like guitar music has really taken a huge dip in the last 15 years or whatever it is. But where I'm hearing more guitar than ever is like a lot of hip hop. Like it's in there. It's in the mix. Maybe sometimes it's the samples, but there's a lot of like interesting guitar playing. And I'm starting to see like the kids at school like coming back around to guitar a little bit. You know, like where it was like no one cared about guitar, and so it's fun, and I'm happy that you guys are doing your part in that. It just spices up the genre, you know, keeps things interesting, and gives you know, especially like the next generation too, something to look forward to, and it's a cool sound you guys have. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And
So,
no, I feel like that is kind of really cool to see a lot of people circling back, because I know what you mean, where it seemed like it was not super popular for like a couple years, and now it seems like there's been a bit of an explosion around it again. So we're excited about that too.
I'm kind of hoping that, you know, as things are getting a little weird with AI, you know, and AI artists, I've even gotten emails for this podcast. Do you want to interview our AI artist? I'm like, oh, not really. Like, I don't know. Like, how's that gonna work?
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that people start to really appreciate the human element, you know, and in a lot of the things that you guys are doing, from whether it's the instrumentation or like finding cool samples that are so unique to that particular moment in time and incorporating that into music, all the stuff that humans bring to the table that is interesting. I'm hoping that we start swinging in that direction a little, because maybe for a while there, things were getting real clean and polished, and now it looks like it could get even more so. But
It's just ironic because the thing we always try and like remove from our music, like you said, the human element, the imperfection of our music is really what makes it special. So hopefully we're able to keep that alive, and I think there's no way AI can ever recreate that, just the imperfection.
Well, when I first got a computer to make music, I was so excited. I'm going to put my drums on the grid, and everything's going to be right. I can get the takes perfect. And once I finished the song, I was like, what's wrong with this? Everything's perfect. Why don't I like it? What's missing? But it's that kind of stuff, that feel and life. I took life out of it.
Too many takes, you get it too clean. Eventually, it won't even sound like what you were going for. It's crazy.
Yeah. You miss the kind of point, which is to have something with expression and life and soul.
Yeah.
I think you guys are doing cool stuff. So for people listening, carpool, but the A is the number 4.
That's correct.
Are those zeros actually?
They're
I'm
also
just noticing.
Yeah.
Oh, see, now you're really mixing it up. So imagine the word carpool, but the A is a 4 and the O's are zeros. So that's what they need to do. Well, it came up as I was searching. So the 4 was enough for Google to know what I meant.
We told you we like the business, so I'm glad our SEO is working.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's always a consideration, right? Like if the name of your band was, I don't know, like a really common word, like it's ungoogleable.
Hamburger.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like how does that come across on Google? So even though like the word carpool is common, when you start putting those numbers instead of the letters, then it's like, oh, okay, you must mean this. So
Helps distinguish.
smart way to it keeps it like a word people can understand
Mm-hmm.
without making it ungoogleable, if that's a word. So it's you got your website, which is carpool.com, again with the 4 and the zeros. You guys are on social media. I'm going to put all that stuff in the links for the show. Anywhere you want people to go other than that to check you guys out?
Definitely check out the YouTube page. We post all of our videos, sometimes some vlogs, just an assortment of content there.
Right.
Yeah,
I'll
I would
put
say
the
just
link to the New York show that you guys just did too.
Cool. Thanks.
thank you. Yeah, we're trying to post more of those live shows and then just post more vlogs too. So if you're not catching us on YouTube, probably Instagram is where we'll be at with updates.
Cool. It's important, like, again, like you're bringing the human side out, making people interested in you guys. And so many of my favorite bands, like after a while, I just like the band. I just like the people.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in them. So, again, great time to be able to do that, right? Nowadays.
Exactly. Introduce them to everybody. Just kind of let people, I like this verse from this person and whatever their favorite parts are, And that's just how they develop.
Yeah, oh, here comes Renzo's verse. Awesome. He's got a cool flow. Nice. Well, thank you guys for coming on, and everyone listening, check out Carpool.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate you for having us.
Thanks for having us, Brian. Seriously,
Pleasure.
a great time chatting.
Thank you for listening to the Music Production Podcast. If you want to help support the show, the best thing you can do is tell a friend, someone you think that would enjoy the show. I'd also love it if you could leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to support my work, you can go to brianfunk.com. I've got tons of Ableton Live packs, tutorials, samples. You can check out my book, The 5-Minute Music Producer, which gives you 365 short music-making activities to help you get started, stay inspired, and finish more music. And there's also the Music Production Club, where you get my latest releases as soon as they're finished. It gives you access to a community of like-minded people who are making music and sharing ideas. You can share your music, find new collaborators, and participate in our live meetings where we set up some kind of musical challenge and then make music together and share our results at the end. That's the Music Production Club. It's a lot of fun, and you can find that and everything that I do at brianfunk.com. Thanks again for listening to the show, and have a great day.